Good morning. Welcome to the Case Distribution webinar. My name is Tracy McCarley. Before we begin the presentation, I'd like to briefly review the webinar interface with you. First off, if you have questions or comments at any point during the presentation, you may submit your questions in writing using the questions box on your webinar toolbar. Simply enter your question and our moderator will respond. All questions are logged, so if we don't have the answer or don't get to your question, we will be posting them on our website for you. By default, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you wish to verbally ask a question, we'll take questions at the end of the presentation. To ask a question, you must either call in via the conference number provided to you, or you must have a headset with a microphone connected to your computer. We strongly recommend that you use the telephone. In the webinar toolbar on the top right corner of your screen, click the plus symbol to open the audio options. Select Use Telephone, then follow the prompts to dial in. Finally, this webinar will be recorded and made available online, and a link will be posted on the CMS website. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started and go over an overview of the case distribution module. Many of you already know that we installed the case distribution module in November of 2019 cycle, but we're discussing it now because we're adding some changes and some enhancements with the MTP install this weekend. Some things that you probably already noticed is that we've created some default caseloads for you in CMSNet. We have a generic caseload already established as well as an archive caseload. And with this weekend's implementation, we will be creating medical therapy unit and courtesy caseloads for MTUs. So those will all be defaults you'll see when I show you the case distribution management screen. So the background behind this is we introduced this module into CMSNet in anticipation of converting Los Angeles County onto CMSNet. This allows users to assign specific user types such as nurses, case managers, financial workers, and therapists to particular caseloads in which you associate the caseload to a particular client. One item of note is that we have posted an updated manual on the CMS branch website, so this, you can access that at any time. And there's a lot of reports that will be developed to be used by this caseload management. There's currently 3 reports, but we're going to be adding additional reports at a later time. So I do have to apologize. I'm getting over a cold, so forgive my voice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to access the caseload maintenance screen. Some preliminary things you'll need to know is that there's security requirements to access this screen. You either must be a county system administrator, or you need to be designated as an administrator for a particular caseload. And when we're establishing the team roles in the caseload, I'll show you where this is established. So the purpose of this caseload maintenance screen is to perform updates, create new caseloads, and delete caseloads. So let me go ahead and show you how to access it. So you'll hold your cursor over the administration link and go down to caseload. And you'll see there's 2 choices, caseload maintenance and caseload transfer. We're going to access caseload maintenance first. Okay, so I'm signed on as a county user, and you'll see I'm signed on as Butte. The first screen that comes up shows you the currently established organizational units for Butte. I'm going to press this plus sign to expand the choices below. So Butte County currently, in the training environment, has several organizational units already created. There's admin log, archive. You can see all these listed here. The way that this works is the county is the highest level in the organizational unit. So the default caseloads that we've already created for you would be this one here, the archive, and the generic. You'll see those currently in production. And after this weekend, you'll see any counties that have a medical therapy unit, you'll see the caseloads associated to your medical therapy unit. So this is a hierarchical type of design. So if you wanted to create additional caseloads, you can do it at the county level, Or in this instance down here at the bottom, I have additional organizational units in my structure. Under organizational units called webinar, I have webinar orange and webinar purple. Now, depending on how your county is organized, you might need to do this type of structure, or you can just keep it basic and put everything under the county level. But when we built this in anticipation of LA, they have several levels of supervision within their county, and so they further break down their caseloads by nurse supervisors, nurse administrators, and nurse case managers. And so you could use as many levels as necessary to represent your county organizational structure. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add a new organizational unit, and we're going to do it at the county level. So I'm going to click on the county name, and I'm going to click on Add OU. I'm going to scroll down. This is where you're going to enter the name of your organizational unit. Okay, you're allowed to enter any type of mixed case here, alphanumeric. You are allowed to enter some special characters. They're listed on page 9 of your manual. Those are the only allowed special characters that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and type in an organizational unit name. Okay, at this point, I can go ahead and associate users that are part of this organizational unit, and eventually it's going to be part of the caseload. You can enter the user's name, last name. You can search by county, or you can even add regional office representatives as part of this team. I'm going to go ahead and type in a last name, and you can press enter or click the find button. And then you receive this dialog box, and this should look familiar. It's the way several of the pop-ups work. And you can go ahead and select as many as you need to add to the team. I'm going to go ahead and pick those and click on Continue. Because I'm associating users to this organizational unit, I also need to identify their role in the unit and also some of these additional fields. So the role is going to represent what role this person plays as part of this organizational team. So are they a case manager? Maybe they're a therapist. Now this role drop-down was one that was provided from Los Angeles County. We do have the ability to add additional roles. So if you see something that's not on here, you can submit that to us at the help desk. Keep in mind, though, we do want to keep a clear, short, and condensed list, so we don't want to add several titles that are abbreviated. So if we could kind of keep the list succinct, it would be the best. So I'm going to go ahead and select a role for each of my members. And then we have this next field, and this is called admin, and this is relating to the administrative flags for this person. So does this person need the capability to access and update the information on the caseload details and this organizational unit? They'll be able to add and remove members, change their roles, and add details at the bottom that we'll discuss later. So if they do, you need to make sure that you mark the administrative flag. The next field is active from, and this is the person's start date as a member of the team. You'll see it's defaulted to today. You could backdate it if you wanted to, but essentially we're defaulting it today. From now on, they're a member of this team. The active to is going to be their termination date, so the date that they're no longer serving this role in the team. You could use the date picker, or you can just go ahead and type in the date. I'm going to leave it off because we're just adding these people. Now, the remove checkboxes over here are only available since I have not saved this information yet. I added this particular member in error, and so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Once I've saved this record, the remove will not work, and you'll have to put an active to date to terminate the person's membership role to that team. Now we're going to go over the caseload details. Okay, the first field that is here is courtesy case management. And this is something that we are actually just adding this with the implementation this weekend. So if we want to indicate that the caseload we're setting up is for courtesy case management, meaning, excuse me, we have a client that is being seen at a medical therapy unit that is outside of our county. We're going to assign that particular, create this caseload and assign that particular client to this caseload. So they might physically live in Butte County, but maybe they're being seen at a therapy unit in Sacramento County. If you click this is courtesy case management, you're allowed to add, it's an MTU type caseload. You select where the other county is located. And then you select the name of the county. And these are all of Sacramento County's medical therapy units. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and do this as a regular caseload, I'm not going to check the is courtesy case management checkbox. And let's just go over the existing caseload types that are available to you. Excuse me. Okay, so the first one on the list is administrative block caseload. And creating this type of caseload is for high-profile cases, like perhaps cases that are in the media with the parents, or the patients are related to an employee within the county. So these types of cases might be assigned to a different group of users or nurse managers that work in your office. One thing of note, we're building this structure so that you can create the administrative block and associate the patients to this. However, the back-end security to filter the clients from the view of everyone else has not been implemented yet. So this would be in preparation of that process. So just keep in mind, if you do an administrative block caseload, they're not filtered out for all other users yet. Okay, there's an archive caseload, and this is where all closed, denied, and not open cases get assigned. Okay, if a case is moved to the archive caseload and then further you get a re-referral for that client, when you reopen the case, it will be assigned back to the original caseload that it was assigned to. Okay, there's a generic, and that's just what it is. It's just a default caseload for all the cases. And you can have more than one generic for your county if you choose to have cases distributed between the two of them, or three, or however many you need. But everybody currently has one generic default. The medical therapy unit caseload type is for just that, it's for the medical therapy units. Remember, this weekend we are automatically creating all the medical therapy unit ones for you, so you may only use this when you create courtesy case management caseloads, or if you get a new medical therapy unit that is opened within your county. And then finally, we have an orthodontic caseload. And this is for all your orthodontic cases. So the only ones that are required for you to use are generic and archive, and for cases that are MTU. So those are the three required ones that we've established for you. So let's go ahead and just create a generic one. Okay, now the caseload code, you're allowed to enter up to 6 alphanumeric characters into this. However, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it blank because the system will automatically assign one as well. So if you have particular need for putting information in the caseload ID code, you can do that. Otherwise, leave it blank. Excuse me. The target limit, so this is not a required field, and it is the optimal number of cases that you would like to see in your caseload. So if you want to establish particular threshold limits where you want to have each team responsible for say, 50 cases, you can go ahead and put that in here. The target limit will print on reports, and so you'll be able to see if you're under or over your target limit. There's a place for comments, and of course these are also optional. Okay, the temporary daily limit, what this allows you to do is to limit the number of cases that can be automatically distributed to your caseload. So for example, you have 5 generic caseloads created. But one of the teams or caseloads should not be receiving any new cases. Maybe the team leader's on vacation, or maybe they're working half-time because they're doing duties at another location. You can put in a temporary daily limit of how many cases can be assigned to this caseload. So if you only want to have them get 1 new case per day, like depending on how many new registrations you have coming in, this may or may not be applicable. But if you only want to limit it to 1, you could do that. And then you could pick a temporary daily limit reason, and you could pick it from this list. We're going to say that maybe somebody's on a leave of absence. And then you'll need to pick a temporary daily limit start date and an end date. So these dates are referring to how long is this limit in effect. So I'm going to go ahead and say the limit is today till the end of the month. And then I'm going to save this. Okay. And then I get a message that the record has been updated successfully. I'm going to expand this and look at it. So here's the new organizational unit that I just created, webinar test. I'm going to go ahead and click on this hourglass to look at the details. Okay, so here's all the information that we just entered in here. So if there was a mistake or you wanted to change something, you could do that now. One other thing I wanted to point out is we just created this organizational unit, and the current case count at the bottom is 0. So there's currently no cases assigned to this organizational unit because, we just created it. But that lets you go ahead and see this delete button at the bottom. If there were cases currently assigned to this organizational unit and caseload, you would not be able to delete it. You would have to transfer them out before you use the delete button. So now that we've created this one, I'm going to delete it. It says record update successfully. And I can see that the one that we just created is gone. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and log into the legacy. I want to show you some of the changes that we made in the legacy regarding caseloads. Okay, I'm going to go into patient registration edit. That's where they are. So I'm going to click registration, patient registration. Okay, so bear with me. I have to go down a couple pages. Okay, so on the 5th page, page 50 of the phase sheet, these new fields were introduced back in November, and there's a place where you can pick a caseload type and a caseload number, and there's one that's called is sheltered. So I'm going to go ahead and further discuss these fields. Now, I've already registered these cases, so they're currently, this one's currently assigned to a generic caseload. I can press my action key, and I can see that there's additional selections available for this type of, allowable for me to select for this case. I can also pick an administrative block caseload or an orthodontia one. So if I wanted to change this one to an orthodontia caseload, all I would do is select it from the list, and you'll see that there's only one orthodontia caseload available for Butte County, and the system automatically assigns that caseload number. If there was more than one, you would press F1 and it would be listed in this table. Okay, so the is sheltered flag, what this represents is a flag that's stored with the record for a case that you never want to have transferred out of its current caseload. So for some reason, that particular one should always be associated to the caseload that it's in. So if you go to transfer it on the transfer screen, or you want to take the flag off here on patient registration, once this is saved, only a county system administrator or an administrator for the caseload can take the flag off. I'm going to go ahead and just say yes on this one. Okay, I'm going to select another patient just so that I can show you one other change on registration. Okay, and it has to do, well, it's actually not a field change, it's kind of a functionality change. So in this medical therapy program information on page 40, this is the name of the proposed NCU where a child is going to be seen. And I'm going to go ahead and press F1 here, and you can see that I'm actually looking at a client that's in Butte County. But I'm also seeing medical therapy units for other counties. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to say this. So, for example, Butte County only has Oroville and Loma Vista MTU. But we have courtesy case management type caseloads established for Butte County. So I'm also seeing Bowling Green, which is in Sacramento, and Bay, which is in Alameda. So remember, this is training, so these may not be truly in production. But so if I wanted to say that this child is going to be seen at a Sacramento Bowling Green MTU, I can go ahead and select that here. And then my caseload type is going to be MTU, and the caseload number associated to that is going to be filed here as well. One other thing I wanted to note before I leave the legacy is I wanted to let you know that all of the patient ID search results have been modified as well to add the caseload code. So that displays here when it gets associated to a client. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go back into the web, and I'm going to show you how to use the case transfer screen. So I'm going to go ahead and hover my mouse over administration, and I'm going to go down to caseload, and I'm going to go to caseload transfer. Okay, so the caseload transfer screen allows you to transfer up to 250 client records at one time so that you can reorganize and redistribute caseloads. If you want to change the caseload for just one single record, we recommend you use patient registration, just as I just showed you. You go in there and you can change the caseload type and select the caseload ID from the drop-down. So let me go ahead and show you how you do this. You're going to select the From caseload and the To caseload. And I'm going to click the Select Clients button. Okay, so this particular generic caseload has all these clients here. You can click the Select All button to select them all, or you can individually pick records. Let me go over the fields with you. Several of them are familiar, I'm sure. The CCS number, name, date of birth, gender, SIN, and registration status. These two fields on the end include siblings. What this is for is when you're going to transfer this particular record, Monster Orange, he has siblings on file. I'm sorry, is this a, yeah, he has siblings on file. And if you want all of the siblings to be transferred to the same caseload as Orange Monster, you should check this box. If you don't want them transferred, you can simply uncheck it. And this red monster has a shelter flag on it, the one that we set on page 5 of the patient registration. So I'm signed on as a county system administrator, so I have the capability to take this shelter flag off and transfer this case to a different caseload if I want. If I don't have the proper security to do this, when I try to transfer, I'll receive a message that I cannot do that until the flag is removed. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer just this one case, and I'm transferring it to, I'm going to move it to Okay, so now the record has been updated successfully. So that one particular record, transfer orange, has been moved to the new caseload. Okay, now I want to show you how to take a look at the existing caseload reports that are available. Those are available on the Reports menu. Hover over Reports, go down to Caseload. We have a Caseload Distribution Management Report, Details, and History. So the first report is not patient-specific. It's actually related to the caseload and organizational structure itself. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I'm signed on as Butte County, so I'm going to look at the existing structure for Butte. Okay, well the report's not coming up for me right now. So what I'm going to suggest is that you can take a look at in the manual. The reports begin on page, oh, it came up. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so the Case Distribution Management Report will list the caseload code and the name, the type of caseload that it is, the total current case count, that target limit that we can establish, and any temporary daily limit, reasons, dates, and who last updated it. So this will be the, I ran it for the whole county rather than just one particular caseload, so it's a 3-page report. Let me scroll down to the bottom. So the last page has a summary. So of the archive caseload types, this is how many cases are currently there and how many nurse case managers are associated to those, and then the average number of caseloads. So there's a generic, MTU, and orthodontia. So currently, this particular county has 12,939 cases distributed in these various caseloads. Okay, now let's go take a look at the other reports. I'm going to hover over caseload and go to the caseload details report. This allows you to see all of the particular clients that are associated to one single caseload. So I want to go ahead and take a look at that caseload I was using earlier, that generic one, and I'm going to run the report. Okay, so I ran that for that one generic caseload, and currently there are 3 cases in that caseload. And it just lists their name, date of birth, gender, and any, if this information here is present, their eligibility status and their program dates. That would also show. So essentially this is just how many cases are in the caseload and a list. Let's look at the final report. This is a caseload history report. And you'll need to identify one specific client to look at this, because what you're going to see is the history of, from the beginning of time, which caseloads this client has ever been assigned to. I'm going to click on Run Report. Okay, so this particular case, Aqua Monster, has been in 2 different caseloads and assigned different times. And so you'll see the date that they were assigned, the caseload code, and who the nurse case manager for that caseload was, along with some identifying information for that particular client. One thing I'd note here, you can search for more than one client at a time. And add them here. And when you run the report, they will just be in sequential order in the report, 1 page per client. You can also remove them in that box. Okay, So, you know, one thing I did forget to mention, I'm going to go back, I'm sorry. If you choose to use this module and you establish your organizational units, the system will automatically assign the caseloads out for you. So if you have, if you choose to establish more organizational units and caseloads than the ones that are currently out there as defaults, the system will start automatically distributing those caseloads out for you based upon system rules. And the way that we do that is we start with the all new pending cases that come in are automatically assigned to that generic caseload in a round-robin manner. So if you have 2 generic caseloads, for example, the one that has the lowest number of cases currently assigned, so that would be active, pending, reopen pending, and transfer active, would receive the first case for the day. So as they come in and get registered, the system will automatically start dispersing those reports out for those clients out for you. So just so you know that will happen. So if you just stick with the defaults that are currently there for your county, there's nothing you need to do. The system will automatically just assign it to that one generic caseload, and you can go ahead and go on with your business. So that concludes the case distribution webinar. And if you have any questions, let me read this little part. If anyone has a question, you can use the raised hand feature in your webinar toolbar. We will take turns unmuting you, and we'll take your questions. And again, to verbally ask a question, you must have a headset with a microphone connected to your computer. Or if you called in, you must enter your audio PIN. If you don't have the PIN, we will not hear you. So let's go ahead and see if there's any people. Okay.
Sarah Morgan.
Okay, Sarah Morgan.
Me.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I have 4 questions. I'm sorry. I really want to use this module, so I want to see if it'll work for us.
Okay.
One of them, I'm not sure, Tracy, if I understood when you were saying about the MTU assignment that we had to select that if the case was MTU. My concern being at the time of referral, when we register that client, we wouldn't know they were going to be MTU necessarily.
Okay, so the only requirement for you to pick MTU is if somebody needs to access the medical therapy program module. So if you get a referral and the case gets automatically assigned to a generic caseload, you can always change it later to an MTU and assign them to an MTU and use the MTP module then. So if you don't know right off the start, that's okay.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, let me just confirm, is in order for a case to get registered in the MTU module, we'd have to change the caseload from generic per se, for example, to MTU.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. My next question, what if you had more than 250 cases that you needed to transfer?
If you have more than 250 cases to transfer, you can loop around and do them in groups.
Okay.
That was a limit on our display. So you can loop around, do the first 250, and then do the next 250, and then do the subsequent ones.
And then when you said about the round robin, what if I wanted to use this module, but I don't want my cases assigned in a round robin? And maybe it would help if I explained our structure, because I'm not even sure I'll be able to use this module given our structure here. The way that we do it is our nurses are assigned primarily alpha, and a mixture of, two of the nurses share MTU cases. My non-nursing case managers, there's 3 of them, and the alphabet is split like A through something, H through something, M through something. So I'm not sure if this will work given that design.
Okay, I think, let's see. So you have non-nursing case managers. Would the same cases that are associated to those non-nursing case managers also be assigned to the nursing and the alpha group?
Not necessarily every letter.
Okay, so each client can only have one caseload assigned. So you couldn't have them in both groups, but if you wanted to create one for your alpha nurses and then one for your non-nursing case managers, you could do that. And when you're registering the client, you can have somebody manually select the caseload that they want it to be assigned to, rather than having the system round robin distribute them out. So just because you create those caseloads, you don't have to have that round robin go around. You can select it at the time of registration.
Okay.
So it might be able to work, and I probably could further discuss that offline with you and see if it's something that we can make work for you.
That would be great, because I really would like to try it.
Okay.
Because otherwise I have to hand move everybody in patient registration, and right now I have several hundred cases I'm holding off doing that for, because I'm hoping this will work for me.
Okay, okay, so I'd be glad to walk you through that.
Okay, thanks. That was it.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
And then next is Cheryl Vidal, but she has several questions that she's also submitting via text.
Okay. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl in LA? Does her auto pin enter? Oh, you know what? Right click on there. There. And send her the pin. Oh, you can't. I'm sorry, Cheryl. We can't hear you. We do have your questions in the log here, so we might have to go that route. Are there any more raised hands?
So you want to go these in order?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go through a few of the ones that came in the log since we have about 10, 15 minutes left, if that's okay with everyone. So what's the first one here?
Is there a way to do a case list for therapists?
Is there a way to do a case list for therapists? If it's a MTU caseload that's created, you can use the caseload details report, and that'll give you a list of all the clients that are associated to that caseload.
The next one is, how do you make non-county administrator into a county administrator to manage caseloads?
That's a good question. To make a person that currently does not have county administrator functionality, what you'll need to do is contact the CMS Net Help Desk. You can email us. There's a particular form that you'll need to complete, and we can send that out to you with no problem.
Is there any other automatic caseload distributions after initial registration?
I think the answer to that is no, but I have to double check. I'm sorry. I'll have to double check that one. I don't think so unless they're changing it, the MTU in the MTP section. That might automatically change it. I have to check. So that's a good question I'll follow up on.
Okay, LE reports due list.
Okay, I don't know that one.
I don't know what that means. Penny Fleming, you're the one that asked LE reports due list. If you could type again, maybe more thorough question, we might be able to answer it. When transferring a full caseload, is there any automated caseload distribution?
No, the way we currently have it designed is that you can transfer cases from one caseload to another, but you can't generate a transfer from one caseload to many caseloads right now. That would be an enhancement.
Is there a link to the MTP module when a case is made active to change the caseload code?
No, not right now, but we could do that as an enhancement later too. Okay.
Okay, so it looks like Maureen Brewer has her hand up, so I'm going to unmute her now.
Maureen? I think she, make sure her audio pin's in. Hey Maureen, we'll have to have you enter your audio pin in. It's pound, your pin number pound, because we won't be able to hear you. Okay. All right, well, that concludes the case distribution webinar. We will be taking all of the questions that you submitted and posting them on our website. So thank you, and have a great day.